Because one thing, you're right. Bernie's a single payer guy. So am I. In his campaign speeches, every one of them, he talked about that's where we need to go. And the problem with one of the problems with Obamacare is the insurance companies are still and the pharmaceutical companies are still in charge. Now Donald Trump, at his news conference last week, I almost fell off my chair. Said our next target, we got we brought the auto executives in line. Now we're going to go after Big Pharma. I said, wait, is that Bernie speaking? I mean, is he serious? And he told the Washington Post, too, when he talked about Obamacare, that part of his plan is going to be reining in the pharmaceutical companies and insisting that we have a right to negotiate for lower drug prices, which God knows Democrats have been saying for decades.
They've been saying it, and then they've been sort of shrugging it off. And part of the legislative deal for Obamacare, I mean, if you really press people in the administration about this, they say, well, look, we had to cut a deal with Big Pharma or we never would have gotten it passed. I don't know if that's true, but they did cut a deal with Big Pharma, and it did pass.
Let me tell you something. I wrote a book about it called Buyer's Remorse. Yeah, no, that deal was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Daschle admits that he wasn't part of that. That's what happened. They cut a deal with Pharma.
Yeah, and look, so throughout the administration, all 8 years, not just at Health and Human Services, but the State Department, the Patent and Trademark Office, every division of the federal government that's under the executive's control has been backing Big Pharma since that deal. So, they have John Kerry going to India and trying to get them not to have as robust a generic drugs industry because they want to keep prescription drugs more expensive all over the world. That's been a big mistake, I think, policy-wise for Democrats. It definitely hurts people in the United States. It also hurts people in the developing world where drugs are really expensive. And it leaves them vulnerable to this kind of attack. I mean, Donald Trump is basically right about the power that Big Pharma has. And progressive Democrats, Bernie Sanders, have been saying that for years. I talked to Bernie after the press conference, and he said, look, sometimes Trump copies me. I don't know if he got this from me, but I've been saying that pharma's getting away from murder for years. And he said they're literally committing murder because people die when they can't afford their drugs. If Trump goes after a few of these populist issues and just goes really hard, he's going to have a record that he can defend saying, look, I actually did look out for you, even if he does all of these other terrible things on the side, even if the terrible things are the major thrust of his sort of policy campaign. Democrats have left themselves vulnerable to this. They didn't have to do it, and who knows what's going to happen? I mean, when these bills come up to rein in Big Pharma, what are they going to do? We saw one potential preview of that this week, and I don't know if it looked good for Democrats.